Welcome to the Texas Department of Transportation Laredo District's virtual public hearing for the North United States Highway 59 Loop Upgrade Project, known as the North US 59 Loop. Project limits are from International Boulevard to the East Corridor Road. This is a pre-recorded presentation. My name is Lauren Munoz. I am part of the consultant team working on this project on behalf of the Texas Department of Transportation, and I would like to welcome you and thank you for participating in this virtual public hearing. This presentation is available for viewing starting at 8 a.m. on April 12, 2021. While the materials for this virtual public hearing would be available indefinitely, all comments regarding the design modifications presented in this hearing must be submitted by Tuesday, April 27, 2021. During the virtual hearing, you may pause the presentation and navigate forward or backward using your video player. This virtual public hearing is being held to introduce the proposed North US 59 Loop project, present the recommended build alternative being considered, summarize the results of the draft environmental assessment, and gather public input. You are encouraged to submit comments on the proposed project after reviewing the hearing materials and listening to this presentation. This virtual public hearing is being held in compliance with both federal and state laws. Documentation of this hearing will be made available for the official record. This presentation will explain the North US 59 Loop virtual hearing process in response to COVID-19, describe the proposed project, provide an overview of the proposed interstate design and environmental studies performed, explain the next steps in the project development process, and outline the methods for submitting comments and key contacts for further project questions. Given the unique circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic, along with the department's commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, TxDOT is conducting this virtual public hearing to avoid in-person contact. At this time, an online public hearing is being conducted in lieu of an in-person public hearing. However, an in-person option is available by appointment only on April 12, 2021. This presentation covers the same information that the Laredo District would have presented at an in-person public hearing. The comment process for the virtual public hearing will be described near the end of this presentation. All hearing materials can be found at TxDOT.gov, keyword search, North US 59 Loop. Public hearing notices were published in the Laredo Morning Times on Sunday, March 28, 2021, in both English and Spanish. Elected official letters were mailed on Friday, March 26, 2021. Notices were mailed directly to adjacent property owners on Friday, March 26, 2021. Information was posted to the TxDOT website on Monday, March 29, 2021. Information was also posted on Twitter at TxDOT Laredo. The North US 59 Loop project is receiving federal funds, and because of the federal component, TxDOT is required to assess the potential environmental effects of the proposed project in accordance with federal standards. The process that is followed is called the National Environmental Policy Act process, otherwise known as NEPA. The NEPA process provides analysis of the potential impacts to the natural and man-made environment and helps the decision maker to make an informed decision on whether or not to proceed with the project. On December 9, 2019, TxDOT received a signed Memorandum of Understanding from the Federal Highway Administration that permits TxDOT to assume responsibility from the Federal Highway Administration for reviewing and approving certain assigned NEPA projects. This review and approval process applies to this project. The project limits for the North US 59 Loop are from International Boulevard to East Corridor Road, and the project is approximately 5.9 miles in length. The project corridor is located in Laredo within Webb County. TxDOT is proposing to upgrade North US 59 to a full urban interstate with three 12-foot main lanes with 10-foot inside shoulders and 10-foot wide outside shoulders in each direction, separated by an approximately 3-foot tall concrete traffic barrier. Please note this map is available as an exhibit board in the virtual room. Please feel free to visit the board and click on the PDF map available to see a larger version of the map. The purpose of the proposed project is to meet local and regional future travel demand, upgrade to an urban interstate to meet current FHWA and TxDOT design standards, and to improve the safety of the urban interstate by correcting access conflicts. The proposed North US 59 project is needed to address growing regional congestion, roadway design deficiencies, and safety. The 2024 average daily traffic ADT volumes along the North US 59 loop from east of International Boulevard to East Corridor Road is estimated to be 70,350 vehicles. By 2054, ADT volumes within these limits are expected to increase to 121,700 vehicles, an increase of 57.8%. This increase in ADT volumes along the North US 59 Loop corridor would represent a meaningful increase in travel demand. In the North US 59 Loop project corridor, traffic congestion has increased steadily since it was opened to traffic in the early 2000s. According to a 2014 study by the Texas Transportation Institute, the level of service, or LOS, on the existing roadway has reached a level D to F at all of the major intersections during peak traffic times. A LOSD is defined as unstable flow, meaning that freedom to maneuver within the traffic stream is much more limited and driver comfort levels decrease. An example would be a busy shopping corridor in the middle of a weekday, or a functional urban highway during commuting hours. A LOSF is defined by a breakdown in the flow of traffic. Vehicles move in lockstep with frequent slowing required. This can be described as a constant traffic jam. We will now discuss the North US 59 Loop recommended build alternative. The schematic design and typical sections have been posted on the project website. Visit TxDOT.gov and keyword search North US 59 Loop, and is also available to view here in the virtual room. Please click on the schematic or typical sections attached in the Additional Materials button in the room for further detail. This proposed project would upgrade the existing North US 59 loop to a full urban interstate with three 12-foot travel lanes in each direction, a center concrete traffic barrier, inside and outside shoulders, and appropriately placed on and off ramps. The main lanes would be constructed between three-lane frontage roads. There would be main lane overpasses at each major arterial street intersection, including Shiloh Road, Del Mar Boulevard, University Drive, and Jackman Road. Stormwater drainage would typically be via a mix of grass-lined open ditches and underground separate storm sewers that would outfall into 8 stormwater detention ponds, which will be constructed adjacent to the proposed project. The locations of these stormwater detention ponds can be seen on the schematic map online at TxDOT.gov keyword search North US 59 Loop, or at the schematic table in the virtual room. Pedestrian and bicycle accommodations would consist of a 6-foot sidewalk located on the outside of the west frontage road and a 14-foot dual-use pathway on the east side of the east frontage road. This proposed project would upgrade the existing North US 59 loop to a full urban interstate with three 12-foot main lanes, 10-foot inside shoulders, and 10-foot outside shoulders in each direction, separated by an approximately 3-foot tall concrete traffic barrier. One direction frontage roads would consist of three 12-foot lanes with 4-foot inside shoulders and 2-foot outside shoulders. A copy of the schematic and typical section boards are available for review in the public hearing virtual room or online at TxDOT.gov. Keyword search North US 59 Loop. The proposed project would be let for construction in two phases. Phase 1 from International Boulevard to zero point 0.4 miles south of University Boulevard would let in September 2022. Phase 2 from zero point 0.4 miles south of University Boulevard to East Corridor Road would let in August 2024. Upon environmental approval, right-of-way acquisition would begin, and project construction would be phased. The total estimated construction cost for the project is approximately $360 million. This concludes the project information and design portion of the presentation. The next few slides will provide an overview of the environmental evaluation for the proposed North US 59 loop. Approximately 192 acres of new right-of-way would be required to complete the proposed North US 59 loop improvements. Right-of-way would be acquired from properties along both sides of the project. No residential displacements are anticipated, but there would be two commercial displacements. The United Independent School District, or USID, Food Production Center, and the Texas National Guard Armory. No public facilities such as parks, recreational areas, churches, schools, or cemeteries would be displaced as a result of the construction of the project. TxDOT offers relocation counseling and financial assistance to residences and businesses that are displaced by the acquisition of highway right-of-way in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970. TxDOT would provide assistance to potentially displaced businesses. Brochures titled The Purchase of Right-of-Way and Relocation Assistance are available on the project website. These materials contain detailed information to inform you of your rights and provide information about the TxDOT right-of-way acquisition process. Based on the studies conducted and continuing coordination, it was determined that the recommended build alternative would have no impacts on the following resource categories: farmlands, utilities and emergency services, visual and aesthetic impacts, protected lands, air quality, or tribal resources. However, the recommended build alternative could affect a number of other resources, and I would like to summarize those potential impacts next. No substantial or measurable negative impacts to the community cohesion, limited English proficiency or LEP populations, or environmental justice or EJ populations are anticipated from the implementation of the proposed project. Both relocations would be at locations which are equally accessible to their employees and the facility's vehicle drivers, i.e., the UISD Central Kitchen, and the general public. It has been determined that there would not be an irretrievable loss of services to the community from any of the displacements of properties or facility impacts. The proposed upgrade to a full urban interstate with pedestrian and bicycle facilities would not bisect any neighborhoods that are not already bisected by the existing North US 59 loop. The proposed project sidewalks and multi-use paths would provide increased access and connection for the adjacent neighborhoods. No encroachment, alteration impacts to community cohesion, or impacts to EJ and LEP populations are anticipated with the proposed North US 59 Loop upgrade project because the proposed project is an improvement to an existing facility and therefore would not substantially alter the existing access nor further divide these communities. Cultural resources are structures, buildings, archaeological sites, and districts, i.e., a collection of related structures, buildings, or archaeological sites, cemeteries, and objects that played an important role to a culture or community. 5 previously recorded sites within the project's proposed right-of-way and study area were analyzed. 2 of the 5 recorded sites lack sufficient integrity and therefore no further investigations are warranted at those sites. The remaining three were considered potentially eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places, or NRHP, and require additional investigation. However, field investigations found no evidence of undocumented archaeological sites within the proposed project area. TxDOT received concurrence on June 23, 2015, on the finding of no effect to archaeological historic properties or state archaeological landmarks within the proposed project's area of potential effects, or APE, surveyed. A reconnaissance survey of the project area was used to identify potential historic resources within the APE of the proposed project. No known cemeteries, historic sites, buildings, or districts are located within or adjacent to the project area. Therefore, no impacts to historic aged resource sites would result from the proposed project. 8 aquatic resources were identified within the project limits. These resources consist of one ephemeral branch of Manadas Creek, 4 ephemeral branches of Zacata Creek, and 3 ephemeral branches of Chacon Creek. All 8 of these streams are currently assumed to be non-jurisdictional by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, based upon the Navigable Waters Protection Rules published by the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on April 21, 2020. No fringe or adjacent wetlands were observed in association with these ephemeral tributaries. Any aquatic resources that are determined by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to be jurisdictional waters of the U.S. would be subject to the permitting requirements of Section 404 of the Clean Water Act. Direct impacts to biological resources resulting from the proposed project would consist of converting an additional 184 acres to a paved mode and maintain interstate. The proposed project would impact 144.4, 19.0, and 13.5 acres of the TxDOT/Texas Parks and Wildlife, or TPWD, Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, vegetation types of scrub, thorn scrub, shrubland, disturbed prairie, and riparian vegetation, respectively. Since the proposed project would exceed the coordination for both the scrub, thorn scrub, shrubland, and riparian MOU vegetation, as defined in the Threshold Table Programmatic Agreement, coordination with TPWD for impacts to vegetation was completed on September 24, 2020. A presence-absence survey for listed plant species was conducted during the May 27th through 28th and June 16th through 18th, 2015 site surveys of the project's areas of disturbance. No species listed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services for Webb County were identified or observed during the extensive 2015 surveys and other passages through the project corridor. Based on currently available data, the project design team has determined that the build alternative would have no effect on any of the federally protected species listed for Webb County. This project may directly impact 2 state-listed threatened species, their habitats, or their potential travel corridors, including the Texas tortoise and the Texas horned lizard. However, the design team has determined that the build alternative is not likely to adversely impact these species' overall status from direct construction-related impacts. As per the 2013 programmatic agreement between TxDOT and TPWD, the best management practices for the reticulate collared lizard, Texas indigo snake, Texas tortoise, Texas horned lizard, spot-tail earless lizard, plain spotted skunk, terrestrial reptiles, and migratory birds will be utilized. The database searches and field investigations conducted to date have not identified known hazardous materials sites in the proposed project area. These sites were reviewed for status information and potential to pose constraints to construction of the proposed project. The analysis conducted to date led to the conclusion that there were no known hazardous materials concerns within the vicinity of the project, and no evidence of contamination was identified within or adjacent to the project corridor. Any unanticipated hazardous materials and or petroleum contamination encountered during construction would be handled according to applicable federal and state regulations and would utilize normal TxDOT standard specifications and practices. 3 representative receivers would be expected to have a noise level at or above the criteria for absolute or relative impacts. Therefore, noise barriers were considered for the proposed project. A total of 3 noise barriers were found to be reasonable and feasible for the proposed project. These potential noise barriers were located along the San Giovanni subdivision in front of the proposed Calady Villas subdivision and along the Bayside subdivision south of the Bayside intersection of US 59. The final decision to construct the proposed noise barrier will not be made until the completion of the project design, utility evaluation, and polling of adjacent property owners. We want to highlight the estimated project timeline moving forward, or next steps. Look for the yellow "We Are Here" arrow at the bottom left of the slide. The purpose of this public hearing is to present the public with the recommended build alternative, present the potential impacts based on the draft environmental assessment, and receive public comment on the proposed project. After the comment period closes, TxDOT will review the comments received and prepare a virtual hybrid public hearing summary report. The summary report will be posted to the project website after the close of the comment period. The next steps include finalizing the environmental document and receive project approval. Provided the environmental document is approved, the project would continue to finalize the detailed design and complete the right-of-way acquisition process. As stated earlier, phase construction is programmed to begin in September 2022. The project hearing website at TxDOT.gov, keyword search North US 59 Loop, contains all materials presented in this virtual public hearing, including this presentation in both English and Spanish, exhibit boards, a comment card, a project fact sheet, typical sections, and a schematic layout for the build alternative. Some of these files are large and may require more time to download than the other project materials. TxDOT encourages you to review the materials posted on the TxDOT virtual public hearing website and to provide written comments. Please feel free to contact the district at any time during the project development process to ask any questions. The comment form is located on the hearing website. Comments must be received via voicemail, email, or mailed and postmarked by Tuesday, April 27, 2021, to be included in the official virtual public hearing summary report. You can submit comments in the following ways. Leave a voicemail at 956-307-9984, via email to chris.kloss@txdot.gov, via mail to the TxDOT Laredo District, Texas Department of Transportation, attention Chris Kloss, 1817 Bob Bullock Loop, Laredo, Texas 78043, or click on the comment button in the virtual room. Again, responses to comments received during the comment period will be included in the virtual public hearing summary report that will be posted on the project website. The project website is www.txdot.gov, keyword search North US 59 Loop. Secondly, don't hesitate to contact us with any questions. The public is welcome to contact Chris Kloss at the Laredo District Office at 956-712-7445 at any time during the project development process with any questions about this project. And don't forget to click on these links and follow us on Twitter for ongoing road closures and construction updates on the Laredo District Twitter page. You can also keep up with TxDOT News on our TxDOT Facebook page. Ladies and gentlemen, we sincerely appreciate your attendance and interest concerning the proposed design of the North US 59 Loop project. Please remember to submit your questions, comments, and concerns. Thank you. This concludes the presentation.